Welcome to the MYBcast, a podcast devoted to educating our audience about alternatives for self-care and wellness through the somatic world of our mind-body connections. Today, we're introducing a second episode of our series, Seeds. Seeds is a podcast about somatic mindfulness. We talk with members of our somatic mindfulness community to learn how the therapists are adapting a tuned touch to their work and how their clients are responding. It's for anyone interested in somatic mindfulness and what it can do for them. Learn about the meaning of the work from the perspective of students as they become practitioners and future leaders in the world of somatic touch therapy. I'm Richard Mack, and I'm here with my co-host, Madelana Ferrara. We're both masters of somatic movement therapy and education, as well as teachers of somatic mindfulness. We're co-founders of MYB, a successful somatic therapy clinic in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. Today, we're excited to welcome back our guest, Sarah Hummel, and learn about what somatic mindfulness means to her and how it's impacting her work and her life.
Welcome back to the show, Sarah.
Thanks, Madelana.
So, Rick, you left us off with a topic about learning from our clients. Do you want to jump in with that?
Well, I'll ask the question. So, Sarah, our teachers have all indicated that this is something that you don't learn in so many hours. This is something that 30, 40 years of practice, you continue to learn and fine tune your craft. And they've pointed that the teachers that they have are the clients they work with. I want to hear a little bit about some of your teachers and the people that are coming across your table and what you're finding out. So jump in.
Yeah, I think one of the most revealing and surprising elements to this practice is how ready or pressed people are for that release. There are a lot of clients who come off the table and have an emotional release, crying, or when they're in the experience and we're sharing it, there's lots of tears. And if they don't experience it on the table, a lot of times afterwards, it's almost that, like, I had no idea that was there. I had no idea that I could go that deep with somebody I don't know, and that memory that I'm holding in my body was still affecting me. Or a lot of times clients will have important people who have passed on visit them in the session. And so you're with that person who is emotionally engaging with somebody that they no longer have access to on this realm. And you feel it and you see it, and it's a sacred experience, and it's my responsibility to just hold space for them and to just check in. And I think being able to ask questions and check in with clients through dialogue has really changed my practice as well, because before it had to be the only thing that was telling me yes or no was really, like, muscle tension, or, a movement of the body, which sometimes, just happens because they're falling asleep or something. And now I'm paying attention to their body, but instead of it me being the person, I'm asking them to pay attention to that as well. And so I'm a part of it, but I'm also a steward to that experience. I'm not happening. I'm not making it happen. And so I think I learn almost as an observer in the experience of what the client is going through.
Go ahead.
I'd like to add to that. I've had people ask me, how do you do that? And I'll just take a second to explain how that feels for me, and I'm interested in hearing how that happens for you. I mean, I'll be working with somebody, and all of a sudden, I'll just see like there's a movie playing in my brain of two people walking on a beach, two little girls, for example. And when this comes up, I know the feeling. It's like this is coming out of clearly nowhere. I have no idea where this is coming from. And I'll ask, I'm looking at, two little girls walking on a beach. They look like they're about 4 or 5 years old. Does this resonate with you at all? And I can't tell you how many times the answer is, yeah, that was me and my sister, and we were in Cape Cod, and we were doing this, and we were doing that. And then I'll invite them deeper. I'm saying, there's a reason this is coming up. What is going on? What happened with you and your sister? Was there anything significant? And in their body, I'm feeling the tension releasing and maybe building up again. And that takes it to a completely different level. How do you experience that?
So I will say that going back to the other episode, I did say something about each practitioner and each person in the world having a really unique ingredient. And I think your unique ingredient is that you are psychic. You do have psychic abilities. I know that about you. I don't have that. But I do have energetic abilities. And what I've been doing with a few clients recently has been really just inspiring and really playful for both of us. And I think we don't, as adult humans in a complex world, we don't really get a lot of playtime. So it's nice to do that. What I've been doing is, especially if somebody comes in and they feel tight and restricted and like they can't breathe, or there's a weight on their chest or in their belly, or their throat feels closed, I'll start to play above their body, not touching them, but working just maybe 3 to 5 inches off of their body, slowly starting soft on the body and then slowly releasing so they almost can't feel the release. And then I start playing as if I'm working their actual physical body, but I'm working their energy body. And I say, do you feel that? And they're like, yeah. What does it feel like? And they're explaining what they're feeling. And then I say, what does it feel like when what my hands are doing? And they'll say what my hands are doing. And I said, and then either at the end or when we're finished with that part of it, and I feel like ready to move on, I just sort of remind them that I wasn't touching your body at all. And that's how much more of you there is to experience beyond your body, beyond what you can touch. You are so much bigger and so much more vast than you feel that you are. And so
Beautiful.
it's just a reminder of like how much more of us there is to live.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Madelana, you look like you have something to say here about that.
Well, I was I was thinking about what you shared a little bit before about the energetic, like an ancestor coming. And I wondered, did that not happen when you were just doing kind of straight massage?
I don't think so, because it was about me giving them something, not me giving them the space to have their own experience. I was giving them a massage. So there wasn't really room for them. Yeah. And I think people sometimes, but like when someone's working your muscles and stretching you and, doing deeper, more pressured work, I think you're engaged more with the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a physical element to this work, but it's not just about that. It's so much more than the touch. And so I think it allows for an opening in a different way. Like, who else is going to be here? Is it, a child version of you? Or is it a future projection, a desire or a wish that you have for where you're going? Because I say this about somatic mindfulness is it's time traveling. For those 60, 90 minutes that you're on the table, you can go, lifetimes away from you and then come back. And you're like, people don't know how long they've been on the table because they've traveled through their experience and through their body in ways that is not trackable by time. And
love that you're saying that. That's actually like an interesting new thought to associate with somatic mindfulness, because it's not a new thought, but to put it together with somatic mindfulness is really curious to me.
I have another image I want to share. And I forgot that I have this image with regard to the work is, so in the 80s and 90s, when you would go to the bank, you'd go through the drive-through and there was this tube that you would put your check or your cash in. And then it just, as a kid, it magically just went up into the ethers, and then it just magically dropped back down with exactly what you wanted and some lollipops. So that's what I think happens on the table sometimes. Like there's almost like you get them on the table and you're like, get ready, I'm putting you in the tube. We don't know where you're going, but you're going to be like sent up into the ethers, and you're going to come back a totally different version of yourself with treats.
I love that. That is so cool.
Oh my God. So what I feel like you're describing is that like introducing the principles of somatic mindfulness in your work opened up a kind of a new path for you, or a new way, a new experience, right? You're talking about, maybe somebody comes and visits the person on the table, right? So what was the first, do you have a recollection of like the first time that happened? Was it scary? Was it exciting? Did you know what it was?
I don't remember the first time, but I do remember when it started happening with regularity. And as I was gaining my footing, I do remember, and I reached out to you and for guidance, because I felt like people were coming back from their travels when they were on the table. And I wanted to make sure that I was taking care of them, that I wasn't just sending them out in the world unprepared and feeling raw. Because I think sometimes it feels like you've gone on this journey of exploration, self-exploration, time travel, and healing. And sometimes you come back and it's like, when you've gotten like a skinned knee, there's new skin there. It's a little bit raw. And I just wanted to make sure that I was responsibly taking care of people post session, because they're, a lot of people I'm seeing, they're new to me and I don't have relationships with them. But what I'm doing is asking them to trust me. And then if we get to that point in the session, which almost always happens, things are revealed to them, and they are sometimes not expecting it, because somatic is a buzzword, so people are like, oh, I like it because I heard about it somewhere on social media, or my friend talked about it. So I don't know that people know what somatic work means, the way that we apply it, work with it, and what it feels like in their body. And so sometimes they're just like, I'm here because I want something different. I'm here because I'm in search for something. So I can't shake it in my body with all these other ways that I take care of myself. I heard this is really good work. Let's try it. And so when there are emotional releases, or somebody does have somebody visit from beyond, once the session's over, it's like, all right, it's nice to meet you, shake hands. Then we're back to this transactional world. And it's like, I just want you to come home with me and we all have a sleepover party until we feel ready to part ways, but you can't do that. And so I was nervous that I wasn't prepared for the after, it's like, first I was nervous that I wasn't prepared to do the work the way that it was honoring the teachings. And then I was nervous that that once I was doing the work and I felt good about it, that I wasn't equipped to take care of people afterwards. So there was that sense of fear and anxiety, but I got over that. And there were ways that I was able to take care of people and organize my schedule, that I left that time.
I remember you reaching out. I didn't remember the specific reason about it, but I do remember that. And it really highlights that this is a journey, that this is, a new experience. And it sounds like that even just the permission to engage verbally with the client was something that had a really beneficial effect for you to transform your work. I don't know if I'm imagining that, but I think that's what you said.
Yeah, I think it's less a permission, and maybe initially it was a permission, but now it feels more a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a responsibility to, I remember once when you were working with Rick and you were doing face work on him, and he was on the table, and you just were so just dialed into the work, so focused, and your touch is just, I call your touch the mother touch, because it's just, that's what it is. And you could tell Rick's body just sunk into the table and just was ready to receive. He was so excited about it. And you kept telling him, Richard, I need you to stay awake. Are you with me, Richard? Checking in. Richard, tell me what you're feeling. And that was so new to me. And I was like, oh, she's not doing it because she needs something for her own good. She's doing that because that is the work. It's not taking a nap, checking out, and waking up at the end of the session. Now, there is some time when you need to let the client be quiet and silent,
Yes.
and go into a space where they're in deep rest.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there is a way where you can also make sure that they're feeling the work, feeling in their body, the somatic experience. So I think it is more of a responsibility to the work to have conversation with people appropriately than it is, ooh, lucky me, I get to talk now.
I want to share a session that I just recently had with a client on the topic of, learning from our clients. And I feel like, I've been doing this work now for, I don't even know, 20 something years, this specific work. And I feel like I'm still learning, and it's sometimes something comes up in a session and I think to myself, how did I not have that insight before? But a client came in the other day and said, I had a remarkable thing happen today. I felt like I don't remember her exact words, but I felt like I came back into my center. And in the intimacy of the, live connection at that moment, I felt, and of course I'm an empath, so I felt what she was saying. I felt what this person was saying to me. And it totally changed the session. Like, it totally changed what I felt with my hands when I put my hands on her. And I felt like, oh, it never occurred to me to feel, is this person in their center? Are they aligned with their center? Are they in their body? Are they that, and so it changed the whole experience of that session. And when you talked about the time travel concept, which is something that I know a lot about and have, done a lot of work with, but never put it with this work. It's like, wow, the way that things can come together from far apart recesses in your mind, right? In this work can be incredible and transformational, not only to the client, but also to the practitioner. So I thank you for the time travel piece.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so fun about this is you've been doing this for 20 years and I'm still a newbie, but having gone to 23 classes, I'm like, what? I never heard that before. And if somebody were to be like, what? They've said that 23 times. How have you never heard it before? But there's so much to learn. And it's such truth um, experiential truth that it just takes a long time for things to really sink in, and like for the message to dissipate and reach the far places in our bodies and in our knowings, until it's actually like something we can say back and be like, that is true. And it's also my truth. And so I think the more we practice, the more we learn, the more we come together, and the more we receive the work, the more you get to revisit something until it becomes your truth.
And I will say that you do bring something to the class. Everybody brings something to the class. This is basically shareware. Your experience, your intuition, your gifts add to the work. And Fernando, Madelana, and I, we were all Traeger approach practitioners, and Milton Traeger, Dr. Milton Traeger said so many times, you're going to take this work far beyond where I'm taking it. And that's true because it's an evolution. And that's the beautiful thing about this. I call it the new medicine. This is all about self-care, and this is attunement, in touch. We're moving into a place, the Aquarius, we're in the age of Aquarius now. This is all about love, oneness, and so forth. This work is so perfect for that. Um, I'm excited to hear what you bring to our next class.
Yeah. If you'll allow me, I'll be there for sure.
Always, always, always.
Thank you. Yeah,
Sarah, are you still doing massage?
Yeah, I mean, I still do massage, but you're never not going to get somatic mindfulness if you're on my table. Like, of course, if you need to, because I do think sometimes people need compression, like, especially to remind themselves, like, come back in, because we're pulled in this direction. We're so pulled away from our bodies that I think sometimes people need to be pressed back in their body. And then I usually, once, I do a lot of compression work um, over the sheet. And then after we've done, more traditional massage work, then I'll be like, all right, now, like, where your body is, where those boundaries are. I've shown you with pressure and depth, and that feels good in your body. And there's some release in the muscles. Let's see where else we can go. And so then I bring in the somatic mindfulness.
And we do compression work too, in accordance with those somatic mindfulness principles.
Yeah.
So it's all there.
And I do think that this goes so far beyond a technique or a protocol and a routine. And I personally, especially as somebody who's learning something new, I want those guardrails. I want those bumpers to help me, so I don't feel like I'm making something up on my own, or I'm flailing out there not knowing. So having a routine and a structure, and knowing that there is a very rigid way of practicing, is good for me. But I think through practice, and also through allowing for me to feel what the practice is, instead of concretely knowing that there's a technique involved, which there is, but it's more about trusting your intuition, and trusting what you're feeling in the touch, and trusting your education, and caring for the person, than it is about what you're doing with your hands. So somatic mindfulness can be so much more than just time on the table with a client. It's how you live your life, and it's how you treat people. It's how you take care of yourself. It's how you move through the world in your own body.
Yes. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about you personally. I know you are the current owner,
Still.
soon to be not current owner, perhaps, of Formation Sauna.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia. And I don't know if you've thought this through yet. Maybe you have, but what's next for you, and where can people find you?
I will definitely be in Philadelphia. And I will definitely be offering one-on-one sessions, somatic work and sound bath. And I do a lot of that. Sometimes I'll incorporate that in a somatic mindfulness session. And yeah, I don't have a plan for where I will be practicing, but I trust that it will work out in a way because I'm really clear about what I need and how special it is that I get to offer this work. So I know I'll find the right home once I no longer have that at formation. And it's been such an incredible journey of being the custodian of such an amazing place for serving such a incredible, rich, beautiful, supportive community. And now I think it's time for me to go similar to this work. It's really time for me to go quiet and to be subtle and to not be a public person, and instead be like, I wonder what will come and what can happen if I just stay small and stay quiet. And I think big things will happen there, but I'm not going to make them happen. And so I think going back to that unicorn analogy, I'm going to like find the unicorn and ride it for a little bit. So I have something incredible to bring back for when there is a landing pad.
I love that. I love that. And I do want to acknowledge the incredible specialness of the facility that you created at Formation. It is beautiful and brings a lot of serenity just walking in there. So whatever you do, I know it's going to be incredible.
Thank you. And hopefully you'll be there in some capacity.
Oh, I love that.
Sarah, I love you so much. You are such an incredible spirit, and you are going to bring so much to this work going forward. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person again. I know we have some classes coming up in Pennsylvania, and hopefully you'll be assisting at those classes, and can't wait to see you again.
I agree. I love you so much. I feel so honored to know you and to learn from you. It's funny, I have the I think of the three of you sort of like I'm Goldilocks, and I've stumbled upon the three of you, very different bears. Your work is all so different, but instead of it not being enough or being too much, it's like every one of them is perfect. It's like it's the perfect bed, tiny little bed. It's the perfect giant bed. Like the porridge is all the perfect temperature. And I'm just Goldilocks taking advantage of all three very different, unique approaches to this work that is so incredible. So thank you for allowing for me to be on this journey with you and to be your student. And I'm just so honored.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for your playfulness. You are love.
Yes, you are loved. That's perfect.
Thank you.
And
All
thank
right.
you for joining us for this episode of Seeds. We hope the stories inspired you. This series has been made possible by our hosts, Richard Mack and Madelana Ferrara, our production team, Mitch Lieber, Fernando Rojas, and me, Madelana, and our guests, whose willingness to share their personal stories is courageous and vital to educating the public and creating change. Thanks to our sponsors, Mind Your Body and Somatic Mindfulness. Find them both on the web at myb.llc and somaticmindfulness.co. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and join us again for more interesting, compelling, and heartfelt stories.